Good evening everyone, welcome back to RLH for another week, and yeah, as you can see, Paul Ricard instantly recognisable for round 10, the French Grand Prix, and yeah, as you can see, Wolvesy in the number 2 Ferrari already coming round the final couple of corners. We'll see if anyone gets a time on the board before him. Is his teammate Jordan Mason on a lap? Yes he is, he goes to the top of the pile of course with a 29.6. What can Wolvesy do? Can he match that? Goes across the line with a 30.1 some way off. I believe Giraffe actually, yeah, slots in on a 30.0, and the Entity in the other Williams just breaks into the 29s. So yeah, a few drivers already on the timing screens. And what have we got here? This is Maggot, who I believe has been a pole sitter fairly recently. He's out on the back of the circuit at the moment, and Liam comes across the line on the mediums, 31.1, maybe just getting his eye in. You have to be careful you don't use the mediums up that you might want if you decide a two-stopper. Oh, Maggot is, yeah, he's lost the rear, running mediums of course as well. The yellow sidewall tyre, loses it on the exit of the chicane down the back straight. Yeah, just saying you want to be careful running the mediums early in quali, that if you end up not starting on them, you may have just burned the tyre that you want for the race. Vote kick has a 1:55.8, so clearly not a representative lap time for him. Rick has slotted in there as well, and recovering to the pits, staying out of everyone's way. He's done a 30.3. BSB Viper in the Red Bull this evening has gone up to the top of the pile with 29.0, so very good lap for him. Yet to see either of the two McLarens put in a time, and you'd expect them to be right at the sharp end. Who else can we find out on track? Fleddy has invalidated. Lancy is yeah, almost in the final sector. In fact, he is in the final sector, isn't he? Yes. So yeah, just making sure. And Viper's actually gone quicker on his second lap, 28.8. So yeah, two laps on that set of soft tyres. What can Lancy do through the final couple of corners? A little bit of traffic ahead, just one of the Astons should be able to stay out of the way. I'm not sure if he's actually on a lap. No, he's gone off into the pit lane. And a tricky final corner here to navigate for the McLaren driver. Gets on the power, DRS open. What's it going to be? Straight to a 1:29.8 and puts him third place at the moment on the second row. Someone else has just gone up as well. I think that may have been Micken. Put in a lap, a 1:31.2 on mediums as well. So maybe a little bit of a lull. Fleddy is just doing laps at the moment by the looks of it. He's going to go for another one. And I've just actually realised that I'm not in a party, and drivers may not have me muted. So I'll solve that and be back in a second. Okay, back to it. All should be good now. Fleddy, yeah, still doing a couple of laps. Number 46 on the side of that McLaren. No prizes for guessing where that comes from. Who have we missed, if anyone? Two Williams still up there in 4th and 5th. Don't think anyone's really set any better lap times. So a few drivers out there on out laps. Who is coming across the line? That'd be Booty starting the lap, so we'll go with him. And yeah, drivers coming out of the pits. In fact, that's his teammate coming out of the pits, so trying his best to stay out of the way through turns 1 and 2 with the sun beating down on you. It's sometimes a little bit difficult to pick out the curb there into turn 1, but he's got through pretty nicely. And yeah, hooking up all the apexes so far. Yellow flags are just cars shuffling themselves in the final sector. It's a pretty decent first sector, it looks like, from Booty. And now out onto the back straight. He'll open the DRS now and get a little bit more straight line speed as he approaches the chicane on the back straight. More yellow flags in the final sector, trying to pick out the curb you're actually meant to turn into. And yeah, nice little run through the chicane. Hard on the power once again down the second part of the back straight through into the final sector. And yeah, all still looking pretty tidy. Now flat out, you would expect through this, what can be a tricky right-hander on full fuel, but now turning it into a never-ending right-hander that just tightens up on you. You can let it run out onto that curb on the exit, again taking a massive amount of the blue painted stuff on the entry. And once again, yeah, don't take too much of that curb on the right-hand side. It's very easy to validate a lap completely unnecessarily. A little bit wide, but does manage to get it tightened up, and then gets himself a nice run into the final corner as a result. DRS open once again. Across the line he goes, and it is what? It's P7, 30.175, slots in just behind Wolvesy. It's all pretty tight around that low 130 area, isn't it? And who have we got coming across the line? We've got so Cranky's yet to get time on the board. I think he may have just started a lap, has he? No, that must have been Liam. So Cranky is out the back of the circuit. We'll stick with him because he's into the final sector on a lap on the soft tyres. Jordan Mason, I think, no, he was already up there anyway. May have improved his time, did he? Not sure on that one. Everything else seems to be pretty much as we left it. There is, however, a Ferrari coming across the line. We'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, Jordan Mason does actually improve this time to a 1:29.3. There's an Alpine off the circuit there, trying to find his way back to the pits, getting a little bit lost. Cranky out of the final corner, full throttle all the way to the line, which is a fair way down the start-finish straight, actually. And a very good lap, actually. 29.9 puts him P4 at the moment, and again, just ahead of the entity by 1/1000th of a second. Is anyone improving as they come across the line? Don't think so. We'll try and catch a couple of the ends of the laps. There's perhaps, I think, Mick and no, it's Vote Kick coming across the line, starting a lap by the looks of things. Maybe Formula SB, no, he is invalidated. Is that BSB on an out lap, I think, just starting a lap. Fleddy is still going around, probably doing some race prep, to be honest. Eric, too fast for you, is on a lap by the looks of things. We'll stick with him. He's got the DRS open as he goes down the back straight. Again, staying as far right as possible and trying to pick out that little curb for the chicane, which is a fairly big stop. And one of the AlphaTauris has gone completely across the chicane there, and hopefully stays out of the way through the final sector. A lot of traffic ahead, actually. We've got both Ferraris, we've got one of the Haas cars, and yeah, indeed Cranky here, who maybe needs to just keep a little bit of an eye out for cars behind. And very wide there from Eric. Just about got it turned in the end, but still, yeah, traffic to navigate. So it's not been the easiest of laps, as Jordan Mason stays well out of the way, so that solves that issue. So maybe just a little bit of connection trouble there, but hopefully nothing too serious. Now turning into the final corner. Driving to the line, there's some yellow flags once again, but across the line it is. It's going to be in the 129s, is it? No, 130.5, not the best of laps from Eric. So Formula SB still yet to set a time, as well as Maggot Luke Prestari, who is on an outlap, and Fleddy, who is still just circling around. Micken, I think, has just improved to P6. BSB goes quicker again on 128.776. So, yeah, definitely staking his claim for pole position with that one, although Jordan Mason's been chipping away at the time. But, yeah, still, in the final runs, 6/10 is a lot to make up. Lansley 29.8. He's going to make up more than a second, so Viper definitely looking like he's got some pace this evening. You get the feeling this man will have something to say about that later on. He's yeah, just working through the laps at the moment, and that tyre, yeah, you can see he's actually done 5 laps on that tyre, so he's literally just gone out and driven what is essentially the first stint, and yeah, getting in a little bit of knowledge, which will serve him well for the race. Whether we actually see him put in a qualifying lap remains to be seen. And a little bit of a lull now with just under 5 minutes remaining. A lot of the drivers are in the pits and waiting for the last possible moment for the best track conditions. But yeah, then again, you have to be a little bit wary of traffic, as we've lost Formula SB. So he's either run out of tyres or doesn't feel he can, well, doesn't if he wants to put a lap in, maybe. Nothing on track to suggest that he would have crashed. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's in the pits with that one. So, yeah, not entirely sure on that from Formula SB. But he's been a pole sitter a couple of times this season, I believe. Definitely one of the quicker drivers out there. And yeah, we'll no doubt see him moving forward in the race. And that's Viper coming back to the pits. So yeah, maybe it looks like a little bit of low fuel mode there. So might just be pushing things to the absolute limit. We'll stick with Fleddy while not much else is happening. So a little bit Larry out of the final corner. DRS open and across the line. One of the, is that Maggot starting a lap? Yeah, we'll go on board with Maggot. Not much else to look at. There's pretty empty track, so turning into the first corner, left-right chicane, so easy to let it drift out on the exit of 2 and lose the lap pretty much before you started, but it didn't fall foul of that into 3 and 4, and now a very, very tight right-hander. Again, don't let it run too wide over that curb, and this one just gets quicker all the way through it, but you've got to stay to the right-hand side because you'll cost yourself speed all the way down this long back straight. And so Fleddy up just ahead in the McLaren, maybe a bit of a tow down the second part of the straight, depending on how hard he's pushing. So Maggot will be looking to get himself deep into the top 10 with this one, and Fleddy pulling right to the right side. Not long to go then, into the final sector now for Maggot, and he's just got to pick out a couple more braking zones and apexes. Just about got it turned in there, maybe a car width wider than he would have liked. Again, not really challenging the curbs too much, is he? Ultimate corner now, carrying a lot of speed in. Gets it scrubbed off to stay as far left as possible. We just saw a McLaren there, despite the fact he's pitted. Maggot across the line, what's it going to be? Is it going to be in the 29s? No, not quite, 30.1. Another driver slotting into that low 130 bracket, which, as you can see, goes all the way from Giraffe in P7 all the way to, I guess you could probably say, Vote Kick in P12. So it's a pretty competitive area. We've just had Eric maybe come across the line, was that? No? Someone's just improved, and I have no idea who it was. Maybe it was Luke on a 130.5. And now, yeah, final 2 minutes, we're going to get everyone out on track and all of a sudden not know where to look. So, BSB is in the pits, so with 1 minute and 40 remaining, you would imagine that's him done. The Entity, I think, has just gone across the line with a 29.5, has he? Yeah, I think he's just improved on that one. So that's probably, in fact, that is qualifying done for him. Vote Kick is, I don't know if he's on a lap or just finished one. One of the Ferraris there, that's Wolvesy. Again, I think just starting a lap. One of the AlphaTauris coming back to the pits. So we'll try and see who's on a lap. Booty's starting one. Ricker is out the back of the circuit. Maggot is doing another lap by the looks of things. Does he improve? Very slightly. Goes into P8 with that one. And who's next across the line? It's going to be Jordan Mason to start a lap. Cranky also on an out lap, so maybe just a little bit too early here. Don't think anyone's really pumping in the sector times. Luke comes back to the pits. Ricker is on an out lap. Fleddy is in the pits. Lanzi is on an out lap. We've got Eric's on an out lap. The other Alpine is into the pits. Is that Giraffe on a lap? Maybe. Yeah, improving as well. So this could put him quite a way up the grid, actually. It could put him P4 behind his teammate. Goes across the line with... puts him P3 ahead of his teammate. Good improvement there in the final sector. So, yeah, all Williams second row at the moment. We've got one of the... that's Vote Kick. Yep, just missed that one. Goes across the line, P5. One of the Ferraris. It's not Jordan Mason, so it's Wolvesy. Where can he improve to? He stays P12. Booty's invalidated, so no improvement from him. Maggot's invalidated, so nothing from him. Cranky has invalidated, so nothing from him. So all the way back to Ricker for the next person who's going to be able to set a representative lap time. And he's a couple of tenths up, so again, this could put him quite a way up the order. Could put him P5 if he can maintain that sort of improvement. Carried a lot of speed in there, just about managed to get it all scrubbed off in time. So easy to snatch a break and run wide into that left-hander. Now there's not much more to do through this right, apart from position the car for a final sweeping left and then right-hand hairpin effectively onto the start-finish straight. Ricker, just missed the apex, didn't he? Of that final corner, driving for the line. What's it going to be? It's the 29.9 and did improve, P8. Lanzi, I don't think improved. It's one of the, I think maybe that was, no, must have been Eric who went across the line. 130.5, no, nothing special from him, unfortunately. Vote kick has crossed the line. That's it for qualifying. So, yeah, in the end, a very comfortable pole position for Viper. And the two no times down the bottom for Formula SB and Fleddy. But, yeah, don't write them off at all. Two of the very quickest drivers in RLH currently. So, yeah, we'll just wait for, what have we got, Cranky and now Giraffe, just to be returned to their pit garages. And any minute now, we should have the results from qualifying for you. Although you can see them on the left-hand side. There you go, confirmation of pole position for BSB Viper. Driving the Red Bull this evening. It's an all-Brit 1, 2, 3. And the entity: Vote Kick, Lancy, Cranky, Ricker, Micken. Prestari, complete your top 10. And then Maggot, Wolvesy, Booty, Liam, Luke, Eric, and as we mentioned, yet no time for Formula SB or Fleddy. That's your 18 drivers for this evening. And yeah, we'll be back in just a second on the grid. So, drivers looking in their race strategies then. And very shortly we will go to the grid for the formation lap. And yeah, it's worth checking actually, because what are we on? Round 10 of 17 now. So getting towards the, well into the second half of the season anyway. As we do go away on the formation lap, BSB Viper leading us away. We will have position change. We will not have the telemetry just yet, and we'll maintain the full track map. There we go. Yeah, Fleddy currently at top of the standings. He's yeah, gotten well clear on 284 points, albeit yeah, exaggerated by the fact that it is, of course, 40 for a win in RLH this season. Giraffe in P2. And actually not too far ahead of the likes of Ricker and Luke, who, yeah, albeit down in 15th, seems to keep picking up the points, and sits just ahead of Formula SB as well. So it's pretty much a five-way battle, or a four-way battle, yeah, for P2 at the moment. And then just a couple more points behind is the likes of the entity, Jordan Mason, Lanzi, despite some pretty decent pace at times, has only managed to pick up 103 points. Liam on 100. And Maggot, Booty, Prestari, Vote Kick, Micken, Cranky, Viper only on 43 points. He has been a reserve for much of the season. I believe now able to attend most of the races. So we may see him, if he can continue the sort of pace he's shown this evening so far, may see him start to climb that championship table towards the end of the season. And then we've got Ahmed, Wolvesy, Eric and Andre Ivan. And in terms of the constructors, yeah, very much McLaren away and gone with that one as it stands. Williams holding a strong second, Mercedes and Aston just 9 points apart, Ferrari in P5, just 12 points ahead of AlphaTauri, who are actually equal with their parent team Red Bull Racing. Haas just 19 points behind those. Alpine a little bit adrift on 98 points in P9, and then Dams for the reserve team is 45, Alpha 36, and ART for the other reserve team is 35. So that's all your standings, and just in time for the drivers to return to the starting grid. And yeah, very soon we'll have them all on. Fleddy will be the last man to line up, and we will get underway with 27 laps of this Paul Ricard circuit, which definitely in terms of sim racing lends itself to a bit better racing than we've always seen in real life. But we've got lights coming on and hopefully get to the front of the grid. Yep, we've got 5 lights on and they're out and we're underway. PSV Viper gets a good start. Jordan Mason, though, going with him and may just get a decent run down the outside into turn 1. Does Viper have it covered? How brave is Jordan Mason feeling around the outside? Oh, contact, and he's round already. So can he avoid everyone else? Yes, just about. Has it spinning to the outside, unfortunately for him, all the way down to last place, but I don't believe any damage. So Viper leads away. The two Williams have got themselves up into second and third, avoiding all of that drama. And I believe, nightmare start for the Ferraris as Wolvesy is now caught up in a bit of an incident there at turns 3 and 4. So the Ferraris all the way to the back of the pack on lap 1. Viper leads us away. Giraffe going with him, the empty, following his teammate just behind. Lanzi's up to P4. Vote Kick maintains his P5. Ricker, Meccan, Maggot, Prestari, Formula SB up 7 places already, so he obviously made his way through the chaos pretty nicely. Fleddy up 5 as well, Eric up 5, Booty down 1 by the looks of things. Cranky is down 7 as well, so not a good start for the AlphaTauris either. So Liam down 3 in 17th, Cranky only 14th, so yeah, really tough start for them. But look at Fleddy making up positions already, and looking at the back of the Alpine of Eric, who maybe has damage, does he? He's really struggling to keep Fleddy behind, despite the medium tyres. Fleddy all the way around the outside of the left-hander and gets the move done up to P11. And we've got a car off, that's Prestari, who he's well off the circuit. I don't know how he's found his way out there, but he's going to drop all the way to the back, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have some cars in. Yeah, Cranky's in, so obviously damage to in fact both AlphaTauris are in, so they're going to drop all the way to the back. It looks like the Ferraris have escaped damage, at least they don't pit this time. So Viper away into lap 2, and you can see the predicted pit stop strategy, so it's predicting a 2-stop strategy this evening, and 2 ways of going about it. Giraffe still just about maintaining that P2 over his teammate. Lanzi holding a solid P4, and yeah, Vote Kick Ricker. Though both Mercedes making solid, if under the radar, progress, both up a few positions. But yeah, then you get the real spectacular stuff of, as we expected, Formula SB and Fleddy. And yeah, a couple of overtakes probably for each of them, but yeah, it seems that they've mainly just stayed out of trouble and picked their way through. In terms of the tyres, let's just have a little bit of a refresher of what everyone's running. The top 7, I believe, all qualified in the top 10, so maintain their soft tyres. And then Maggot, Formula SB, Fleddy, pretty much everyone all the way back down to Jordan Mason, who's just pitted. No, sorry, he didn't. He started, of course, yeah, started at the front. So Jordan Mason and Prestari both on the softs as well. Everyone else running the mediums, including those that have just pitted, Cranky and Liam. Double stacking at AlphaTauri. And yeah, Formula SB already trying to line up Maggot into, oh, look at that, he's going to go for a move into the final corner. No DRS yet, of course, so he might as well take the move if he can get it. And BSB sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:33.0 as Formula SB goes defensive now, halfway down the straight towards turn 1. DRS now is enabled for this lap, so yeah, drivers will have that in their pocket this time, and Maggot will be looking to use that in a couple of corners time to make his way back past the Red Bull, but it does seem maybe a forlorn effort. Formula SB moving up the field very nicely indeed, and those medium tyres will take him a fair way into this race, as the Astons are starting to make a little bit of progress as well. Just yeah, keep moving themselves slightly up the order, picking up hopefully more points for them. Fleddy is just a little bit of yeah, a couple of positions behind Formula SB at the moment. They started 17th and 18th, of course, both on a similar tyre strategy by the looks of things, mediums at the moment. So yeah, all looking pretty good for those two. Let's just have a check in up the front. We've got Viper once again, and actually, yeah, stretching that lead to 2 seconds almost, so no risk of being in the DRS for him. At the moment, the Entity is definitely sticking with his teammate and will have had the benefit of that DRS. Lanzi also right in behind, so it's McLaren versus Williams for the lower half of the podium, well, the lower part of the podium. Can't really split 3 in half, can you? Vote Kick is dropping behind Ricker, who's just picked up a 3-second time penalty for his trouble. So may have been part of the overtake, but either way, he's ahead. And however, Vote Kick, you would imagine, is going to get the DRS now. And yep, does get it open, and he's right ahead of his teammate Micken as well. Is the Haas going to sail back past Ricker down into turn 1? Bit of a dummy there. Hopefully can not make any contact. Oh, there is contact. Oh, almost taking his teammate out as well. Hopefully now all the drivers can avoid him. And he gets it back pointing, oh, just about in the right direction. This is painful to watch, and that, yeah, I can't help feeling that was slightly predictable. Safety car, that could change things. Prestari is now in the pits. Viper, will he feel the need to pit 4 laps in? Maybe, to get those soft tyres off. Nightmare scenario for Williams, though. They're going to have to stack. And yeah, perhaps already the Entity is maybe just letting that gap grow a little bit. Maybe just sticking above his delta slightly more than he needs to. Can't drop too far behind, of course. But at the moment, yeah, Lanzi right on him, so it would suggest the Entity is trying to buy himself a little bit of space. And yeah, Ricker in behind, and then Micken. So I would expect the top 6 to at least think strongly about pitting. Maybe one of the Williams will continue, we'll see. However, we're going to see BSB Viper first around to the pit entry and see if he peels off to the right hand side. He does not, he continues on. Giraffe is steaming into the pits, both Williams in. Yeah, a little wide there from the Entity. Lanzi in as well. So you would expect, even with a little bit of a gap to Giraffe ahead, Lanzi's probably going to jump the second Williams here. Maybe even Ricker as well. Ricker's right into his pit box. Fleddy, look at that. And Formula SB taking up... oh, Booty, drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So he's unfortunately fallen foul of the Delta somewhere. Where is the Entity? He's still in the pits. So he's lost out to Lanzi and Ricker, maybe even Micken. Did he know he's well out ahead of him? Yeah, so lost 2 positions there, the Entity. Unfortunate for him, he was yeah, coming in right behind his teammate. Medium tyres for all of those. Micken, however, has put the hards on. So he plans on going a very long way. And that leaves just BSB Viper on the softs. So yeah, it was well clear in qualifying, but this safety car's probably just come at the worst possible time for him. It is a Red Bull 1-2 at the moment, but no loyalties in terms of constructors points because yeah, as we've mentioned, Viper is a reserve driver at the moment, so will not score constructors points for the Red Bull team. And let's just have a little bit of a reset and see if we've missed anything. Both Astons have made good progress as a result of starting on the medium tyres, and they currently sit in P5 and 6. Wolvesy as well has got himself back up the order. Jordan Mason, his teammate, has chosen to pit. Maybe he was carrying a little bit of damage after that first corner contact with Viper. Ooh, so right, what have we really got to watch? Booty, yeah, unfortunately, he's made his way up to P5, but yeah, got that drive-through penalty, so that will pretty much destroy his race unless we have another safety car later on. And Ricker is the only other man to have picked up a penalty so far, and that's for track limits. So, lap 5 of 27. Most of them have pitted onto the mediums. You would imagine probably another set of mediums later on, and they'll make it effectively a two-stopper, or effectively a one-stopper from here, medium to medium. Booty's pitted, but I'm 99% certain that the game won't allow him to take a drive-through penalty, so instead he's going in for a nose by the looks of things, actually, so maybe that was the thinking behind it. He's put the hard tyres on as well. Yeah, maybe just sort of resigned to the fact that he's going to be at the back after his drive-through anyway. Might as well get some tyres and a new nose on it. And heading down the pit lane into the second lap of this safety car period. So we've got 2 cars out on the hards. We've got 14 out there on mediums. Some that have started the race and some that are just a lap old under the safety car. And yeah, one very lonely Red Bull out the front on his starting soft tyres. And if I remember correctly, did he set 2 laps in qualifying on that tyre as well? I think he might have done. So yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy on those softs. They might fire up a little bit earlier than the rest on mediums. Be interesting to see how far Viper can now take these softs. If you can get another sort of 5 laps out of them, bearing in mind most of these have, well, now a couple of these, sorry, have been under the safety car, so they shouldn't be too bad at the moment. In terms of temperature, definitely they'll be in good condition. We're going to see the safety car in this lap, so that's good news. Viper will want to push on and get as big a gap as possible. And yeah, pretty much sticking to the plan, isn't he? So you would expect a 2-stop from here for Viper. Although maybe, depending on what the pace is like on the hards, maybe you could think about putting them on, as soon as he's now able to stretch this first stint a little bit longer with these 2 cool-off laps effectively. And yeah, both Red Bulls ready to lead us away. If they were teammates, permanent teammates, you would suggest that maybe Formula SB could play a few games, but as we mentioned, reserve driver Viper won't have that sort of support. He is, however, about to get us back underway, and he's gunned it. So, and in fact, Formula SB's gone with him. He's not managed to get the jump on his Red Bull stablemate. But no chance of a move down into turn 1. However, we've got a move perhaps going on there. Fleddy judging it just about perfectly and running it around the outside of Maggot. And yeah, just keeping it on track. All good. And a very nice move there from Fleddy. Put himself into the podium positions. There's another move coming here because Luke is on contact. So close. And yeah, unfortunately, a little bit of contact has just tipped him round. And now it's disaster once again for Aston Martin. So we've gone from Ferrari having it the worst to AlphaTauri, and now it's Aston Martin's turn. Seems to definitely come in pairs this evening, but one pair that are doing a very nice job indeed are the Red Bull pairing up the front, and Viper already trying to clear that 1 second gap. No DRS, of course, after the safety car. So yeah, at the moment Viper is leading Formula SB and Fleddy, the 2 drivers that we sort of expected to come through the field. Started 17th and 18th on those medium tyres, yet to pit of course, so they will have to run a different compound of tyre, whereas those who pitted now can in theory run, as we've mentioned, this set of medium tyres and then pit for another set of mediums. That might be the ideal strategy from here. So maybe the likes of Giraffe are still looking pretty decent, Lancey as well, Ricker, despite that penalty. They could come back into play because the 4 cars ahead of them, Formula SB, Fleddy, Maggot and Wolvesy, will all have to run, I'm guessing, well, it depends if they 2-stop from here, either a medium and then a soft, or the hard at some point. Either way, they've got to run some sort of different compound. So yeah, Formula SB is sort of sticking with Viper this time. That 2-second gap that emerged when Giraffe was following him in the early stages definitely is not reappearing, and if anything, the medium tyres are starting to look the stronger. He's closing in now, and yeah, Viper may just be regretting not sticking a set of mediums on it at the under the safety car. Trying to break the toe already with moving around a little bit on the straight. Have to keep that slightly under control, but yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. What's going on further back? Giraffe is starting to line up Wolvesy, so even, yeah, it looks pretty high degradation, doesn't it? Giraffe, even on those mediums that are just 4 laps younger, is definitely looking to make progress. Lanzi coming with him as well. It's all pretty close there, isn't it? The field really not spreading out with the combination of drivers who started on mediums outside of the top 10 and drivers who pitted onto the mediums under the safety car. It's definitely keeping the midfield nicely bunched up at the moment. But yeah, up the front, we're about to go into DRS enabled mode again, and Viper is very much not safe from that this time. Coming out of the final corner, we'll just go and check in up the front. Fleddy is not close enough to make a move. DRS, as you can see, yep, enabled this time around. Maggot has dropped to behind by 2 seconds. Wolvesy and Giraffe definitely within range, and I think, if anything, we're probably going to see a move from Giraffe down the back straight. Certainly seems to have the measure of the Ferrari at the moment. And yeah, pretty impressive performance so far this evening, has to be said, for the Williams driver. All looks nicely composed and comfortable in that car. A little bit of a slide in the dirty air there, but oh, a bigger slide onto the back straight, and DRS open. But oh, Wolvesy did manage to stay in the DRS from Maggot, so and up the front it's remained as it was with the top 3. No DRS down the second part of this straight, of course. Oh, Maggot, big slide with the Mercedes there. We've got some yellow flags. Not sure what that's for. Cranky, I believe. Looks like he's had a little bit of a spin out of the chicane. And oh, look at that. Giraffe carrying so much speed in. A little bit of a 4-wheel drift into the right-hander there. And yeah, definitely looks a little bit loose, if anything, on this lap. Maggot, though, is starting to just bunch things up. He's falling back from the top 3. And yeah, may be vulnerable this time to that DRS down the main straight that we didn't have last time around. And Wolvesy positioning himself nicely. In fact, actually, look at that. We've got a move, possibly even a three-way move into turn 1 going on here. The 2 Red Bulls, and Formula SB not feeling the need to overtake Viper this time. Maybe wanting to keep some DRS for himself down the back straight, because Fleddy is very much within range. No change in P4, 5 and 6 either. Although it's getting pretty close now, isn't it? Lanzi just within 2/10 as well. So I think this time we're probably going to see Formula SB slingshot past Viper and then try and use the final sector to build a bit of a gap to Fleddy. So good thinking. Not allowing Fleddy to be the man following him down this straight. So yeah, Formula SB moves into the lead as expected. BSB Viper down to 2nd place, still running the soft tyres that he qualified on. Fleddy, now without DRS, is probably going to find it a little bit difficult to get past Viper, and may have to sit behind him for the whole of the final sector. That is, I have to say, very good racecraft from Formula SB to sort of use the last of the DRS zones rather than DRSing past him on the start-finish straight and then letting Fleddy have the next one. It may have just, because of course he's not going to have any sort of DRS now out the front. Still, Maggot, Wolvesy and Giraffe all line astern. Sorry, Maggot, Wolvesy and Giraffe, yeah, and then Lanzi in behind. So yeah, pretty mammoth scrap going on. We've still got the likes of Ricker, John, Mason, the entity on the back of this as well. Only Micken on the hard tyres is dropping back a little bit. What's going on a little bit further up? I think we're probably going to see Fleddy. Are we making a move? No, not this time. So Formula SB can't break that DRS at the moment. Viper still managing to stay just about within the range. Oh, Viper picking up a 3-second time penalty just through turn 3 there. So what sort of changes have we got? Nothing in the midfield as it stands. It is, yeah, we've got to keep an eye on 2 fights at the minute. We've got the fight for the lead, but we've also got an incredible fight for, well, basically P4 downwards. Fleddy now takes P2 from Viper Should be pretty comfortable, and now it's probably going to be a straight fight between these two up the front. What's going on a little bit further back? It's just a bit of a train, really, isn't it? Behind. Oh no, Wolvesy's got ahead of Maggot out of the chicane there, and now hopefully trying to stay ahead of him through the right-hander. That's going to be too wide in two banks. That's incredible. Giraffe going up the inside of Maggot as well. Needs to watch he doesn't get turned in on there, because as we've seen, even a little bit of contact can throw you around. Oh, and yeah, oh, that's such a shame. Lanzi was, yeah, not at fault at all for that one, but yeah, just a horrible set of circumstances. A little bit of contact with, I believe, Maggot initially, just unsettled the car. Viper's in the pits now to get rid of those soft tyres. Yeah, unfortunately for Giraffe, a little bit of contact unsettled the car, and then Lanzi, as we've said, no fault of his own. Bit of contact there with Giraffe was the final nail in the coffin, and it all stemmed from that sort of two lots of too wide through the fast right-hander, didn't it? And now, oh, Fleddy was just a little bit wide there, running well over the curb. We'll have DRS this time on Formula SB, so it'll be interesting to see the relative straight line speeds. How fast is Fleddy in a straight line then? Not massively faster than the Red Bull, is it? So that Red Bull maybe looks a little bit trimmed out. Either that or the DRS just isn't that effective. It is, I guess, I would say it's a medium downforce sort of track. I might be completely wrong with that one, so please tell me if I am. Wolsey picks up a 3-second time penalty, but Maggot's gone spinning, just as he did in qualifying. And now he's going to be the man to drop a long way, almost to the back of the field. Gets going again. So shouldn't have any damage, but may have put the temperatures of the rear tyres through the roof a little bit. And now back to the front. It's starting to look a pretty decent afternoon for the McLaren team, isn't it? What can Fleddy manage? Not willing to pull a surprise into the final corner. We're going to go across the line and we're going to go into lap 13, so approaching half distance. And yeah, he's going to make the move up the inside of Formula SB. That's it. Fleddy has pulled the trigger, moves into the lead of the race. And now we'll look to break that barrier of the 1 second. Someone's been in, that's Wolvesy. He's pitted onto the hard tyres to go to the end. 3-second time penalty for Eric for track limits. So now we've got two McLarens on the podium as it stands. Cranky also picking up a time penalty. So yeah, penalties starting to flood in just a little bit now. Jordan Mason on the back of Ricker looks like the next move we're going to see. Although the Mercedes driver just about will get the DRS as well on the back of Lanzi. But slipstream might be enough, and maybe a bit of ERS as well for Jordan Mason. And yeah, Ricker already clipping down the straight. Look, red lights flashing on the rear. We've seen a lot of contacts, and that's another one, I'm afraid. And unfortunately for Ricker, he goes spinning. We've seen a lot of those very light contacts just result in instant spins this evening, haven't we? And Prestari now is side by side with Mercedes as he recovers out of the chicane. And yeah, I'll be honest, I've not managed to remember too many people who've not had an incident this evening. Two of them are up the front, Lanzi as well, I don't think. Jordan Mason had one early on and has cycled his way back up to P4. He started on the front row. The Entity was, I think he's been fairly clean, apart from getting caught up in that double stack under the safety car. Micken's doing a good job, and those hard tyres will probably go to the end, and actually not looking too bad as it stands. He's stuck with the likes of Jordan Mason and the Entity, and even Lanzi as well. So Micken, if you can go to the end on those hards and keep this sort of pace up, is looking on for a pretty decent result, as Lanzi has now spun out of turn 2, and he's going to have to make sure he gets across there. Yeah, very good reactions there from Ricker to see that one coming, as Viper sets a new fastest lap of the race, 31.9. So yeah, Lanzi is the latest fall foul of turn 2. And again, some of these returns to track this evening are giving me a bit of a heart attack, so don't know how the drivers are feeling down there, trying to avoid things. It's definitely been an eventful race so far. And Jordan Mason, yeah, as we've said, now up into the podium positions. The Entity, though, is looking to salvage something for Williams after Giraffe was involved in that incident, looking to move them back onto the podium behind the lead McLaren and Red Bull. And both of these drivers now on identical sets of tyres, so yeah, the Entity seeming to just have a bit of a pace advantage at the moment. They were both right up there on the grid, weren't they? Second and fourth, I believe, as Giraffe picks up a 3-second time penalty. The Entity has gone well wide there, but was aiming for the pit lane. Manages to get it slowed down to the pit speed limiter, which is yeah, very early on this circuit, and I believe quite a bit slower than the standard 100 km/h speed limit. And all the way down the end is the Williams team, waiting for the Entity to put on, as we've sort of guessed earlier on, another set of the mediums. So what have we got going on now? We've got Fleddy trying to break the toe to Formula SB behind, who has managed to stick within the DRS zone, and is it just looking a little bit overcast up ahead? We're on lap 15 of 27. It's maybe just got a little duller. I'd be surprised if we were to see any rain. Not heard anything of it from the drivers, but we have seen conditions turn fairly quickly this season, so we'll just keep an eye on that one. As your two leaders now come into the final sector on lap 15 of 27. So yeah, still time to be affected by it if it does come. Micken now is up to P4 as a result of that Williams pit stop. So yeah, these hard tyres are certainly holding on very nicely indeed. Anyone of the top two in the pits? Nope. Oh, we're going to see Jordan Mason reacting to that pit stop from the Entity. No, yes we are. So yeah, not much respect for the pit entry line going on this evening, has to be said. It's not the most dangerous of pit entries to cut, but yeah, strictly speaking, it should be respected a little more than that. Either way, in fact, it looks all of a sudden very dark, doesn't it? On board with Micken here, it's got very overcast all of a sudden. And if these guys all have to pit for... That's maybe why we're seeing Fleddy and Formula SB stretching those mediums out. Maybe they're expecting a bit of rain in the next couple of laps. And if they have to pit, all of a sudden Micken's looking very good, because he won't have to pit anytime soon off these hards. This looks a very... This is rain coming. This has definitely got to be rain coming. And if there was ever a race that didn't need rain to liven it up, it's this one. We've seen plenty of incidents in the dry. So, yeah, Lord only knows what we're going to see if we get a bit of rain in the final 10 laps. Fleddy, though, is still... in fact, actually, that would work out fairly well for these two as well, wouldn't it? Because it would mean they don't have to run two different types of tyre if we see a wet tyre at some point. Although I haven't said that now at this point, they could probably put the softs on anyway, even if it did stay dry to the end. They've run these mediums very nicely indeed, completing now their 16th lap on them. So Fleddy across the line has broken... Liam's pitting, that's why. Yeah, so yeah, cut half of the final corner, of course, and we've got a lot of drivers in the pits actually. I wonder if we're going to see any... No, of course not. I did wonder if we were seeing someone react to just a spot of rain or something like that, but no, it just seems that we've come to the end of those medium tyres. Luke putting the softs on. Liam and Ricker both going for the mediums. And they'll come back out on track just behind this battle between what looks like both Ferraris and the Entity. So it's one of those days where even if you've sort of had an incident early on and started down the back and had a bad qualifying, or even had a new front wing at some point, or even in the case of Booty, had a new front wing and a drive-through penalty, it's one of those days where you could still find your way cycling to the front of the field. It wouldn't surprise me if he had another safety car before the end. Fleddy leading though from Formula SB. Let's just have a bit of a reset and a run through the order. Micken, Eric, Lanzi, Viper, Maggot, Jordan Mason has just got ahead of his teammate Wolvesy. The Entity round out your top 10, and then Liam, Booty, Ricker, Prestari, Luke, Giraffe and Cranky, just the one DNF so far. Vote Kick had the incident down at turns 1 and 2. But are we going to see some rain? It's definitely got very dark out on track. As your leader comes across to start lap 18, and I would imagine these two would have pitted by now if they thought there was going to be no rain. So I think they're holding out for some inters, because these mediums must be getting a little beyond their shelf life right now. And yeah, Mick and Sul, as we've said, got to keep an eye on him because he's looking pretty strong at the moment. Definitely a good shout for a podium. And was that a raindrop? Can't tell sometimes with the graphics on here, but I believe I've seen at least one raindrop. I may be entirely wrong on that. Let's see what's going on further down the order. Eric trying to DRS his way past Micken into the chicane. Viper actually moving up ahead of Lanzi, so he's made his way back up to P5 despite the having to pit under green flag conditions. He's starting to get back to it, and it's actually only 16 seconds off the lead. So, and on sort of fresh mediums, so if the leaders have to pit anytime soon and then it rains and they all have to pit for wets, and we're going to see, yeah, Fleddy in this time. So Fleddy's in, Formula SB's in. So if they were waiting for the rain, it's not happened, and they've finally had to come in and get off those medium tyres that I imagine are pretty spent at this point. So that and Eric pits as well off just 13 lap old mediums. That means Micken's going to move up into the lead of the race as it stands, and Viper's going to move up into P2. And in theory, from what we've just seen those do on those tyres, Viper can go to the end on that set of tyres, although his penalty may mean that if they stack up behind him, having fresher tyres, he will lose out anyway. So that penalty might be key to the outcome of Viper's finishing position. The two McLarens, so Lanzi is just 1.3 behind, having not pitted again, and Fleddy out now on those soft tyres, comes out in P4. So a safety car and maybe a threat of rain have definitely added a nice strategic element to this race, which otherwise may just have been a straight two-stopper. It's definitely mixed things up, and Micken finds himself in the Haas leading, and Fleddy picking up a 3-second time penalty through the chicane out the back. So that sort of resets things, doesn't it? Because Lanzi, you would imagine, almost certainly has to pit again. Viper, in theory, can go to the end. 7 laps so far on that set of tyres. And Formula SB probably could be actually looking pretty strong if he can stay away from penalties himself. As Booty picks up one, I believe, out in Sector 1, yeah. Where's this rain? Come on, we've been speaking about it for a few laps now. It's very dark. Surely we're going to see some rain. Eric picks up another penalty, I believe. So only, what, 5 drivers out there? Yeah, Micken, Lanzi, Formula SB, Jordan Mason and the Entity so far. So if there was a late safety car, those without penalties would definitely be looking pretty good. What have we got going on here? We've got a move between Eric and Liam down the start-finish straight, and that's DRS for Eric. So Liam will have to give second best on that one. Not much going on further down the field. Prestari and Ricker, I think, just getting a little bit sideways there. Just keeping an eye on the... Just going to put the telemetry on. I think Ricker's, yeah, quite very low on electrical energy. Wolvesy on his hard tyres is closing in on the Entity down the back straight, who picks up a 3-second time penalty. So we just mentioned that we had 5, now there's only 4. And a lot of drivers, yeah, struggling for energy. Wolvesy and the Entity both pretty much out of ERS down the back straight. What's going to happen then? Lap 20 of 27 is just about to be complete. There is definitely a sting in the tail for this race. Micken leading us into lap 21. Viper is closing but has a penalty. But, yeah, newer mediums compared to the older hards. You would imagine if he did get ahead, he could probably pull 3 seconds on Micken. Although we are starting to get down the laps. Formula SB actually setting the fastest lap of the race, so 1:31.6. So, yeah, effectively 4 different strategies are closing in on each other towards the end of this race. We've got the McLarens now very close to each other. But yeah, we've got hards, we've got sort of middle-aged mediums, we've got old mediums, and we've got new softs, and they're all going to converge into the final few laps of this race. And I believe that's Lanzi getting out of the way rather than going defensive. Not much he can do with the DRS and the fresh soft tyres. Now he could do with holding back Formula SB for his teammate if he's feeling generous. And yeah, again, so Micken is about to make it round to lap 22. And yeah, any threat of rain so far has held off. And at the moment, he's still holding off the rest of the pack. Fleddy not making the sort of insane progress I would have expected on these new softs. He's really not closing in that quickly. He's probably going to sort of knock 2 seconds off it in a lap now and make me look a bit silly, but either way, it's definitely not happening. A bit of a lock up into the final corner. So, yeah, no idea what's happening with the weather, whether it is just overcast to the end or what, but Formula SB has cleared the second of the McLarens, so, or the first of the McLarens, he comes across them, and Fleddy just ahead with that penalty, so yeah, probably looking like P2 at the moment for Formula SB, and I have to say, if Micken could get to the end with some decent pace in this Haas, on the hard tyres and win this race, then that would be a fantastic drive. I'm not going to say too much just yet because we are only on lap 22. There's a very long way to go in terms of deciding the leader of, well, the winner, sorry, of this Grand Prix. Down the back straight we come. The gap is starting to get closer now, so it's yeah, it could well be DRS on the Red Bull by the end of the lap. Fleddy, yeah, taking about a second off on this lap, so just starting to close in. Maybe just looking after those softs in the early laps, and then we'll give it everything from then on. He's got 1.8 seconds to Formula SB at the moment. Needs to add another 1.2 to that in the closing laps. If he wants to win the race, he's definitely got to do that. But actually, yeah, he's got to. It's looking a little difficult for Fleddy right now, as a result of that penalty. If it wasn't for the penalty, you'd say he probably looks the favourite. Cranky's retired out the back. Are we going to see any sort of safety car for that? Because that would transform the end of this Grand Prix. No VSC or anything at the moment, so it looks like they're going to clear that under yellow flags. And it is indeed clear, so yeah, no interference with the end of this race, although Viper at the moment is going to be pretty close to Micken already on the overtake button as they come down the back straight. And he's gone defensive, he's gone very defensive indeed, and he's going to just stick to the inside. He's running out of electrical energy, and Viper just backed out very early. I wonder if he's seen the red lights flashing and thinks he can get an easy move done now down into the final sector. Micken once again though is going very defensive and very early with it, and again sticking to the inside. He doesn't want any chance of that Red Bull coming by. He's going to go the long way around. He's going to get run out of track out there surely, and Micken doing a very good job, but now Viper has the inside line for the left-hander, and all this is allowing Fleddy and Formula SB to close up, of course. And Viper now does take the lead. He has a penalty, so has to make that gap up. And DRS is going to be on the side of Micken this time. Although with that ERS level, you would imagine he's probably going to struggle to make any sort of move back on him. So now it's a case of can Viper pull out those, I believe it's only 3 seconds, it is indeed. Micken will be looking, where's the detection point? It's a long way around these next couple of corners, isn't it? So he needs to try and stick within that 1 second window without picking up a penalty of his own. And we'll keep an eye on it. But even if Viper wins this race, he's done a great job, having possibly made a mistake on the strategy not to pit under the safety car. He's done a good job to come back to the front and put himself within a position where he could possibly take this win. And yeah, Micken does have the DRS open, but unfortunately that ERS level that he had to use pretty much all of it to defend might just be his undoing, with 3 and a bit laps remaining. And now Fleddy is very much on the charge on these soft tyres as well. So not over between Fleddy and Viper either. We might just have a bit of a showdown in the final couple of laps between those two. And Viper now having to obviously get through his energy because he's not got the advantage of the DRS anymore. And all the while, the man with the newest tyres and no penalties is just lurking in P4 and might come and do the lot of them in the last lap. So Micken now is well out of DRS range, and at that sort of rate is going to fall too far behind Viper to be in with a chance of winning this race. That's assuming Viper doesn't pick up another penalty, of course. And Fleddy's going to come through because that's going to be easy on the DRS. But again, another one struggling for electrical energy, so he's going to really have to push to get within the 1 second window now of Viper. 3 laps to go. Micken. Formula SB picks up a penalty, and that changes everything because now he becomes effectively 4th favourite for the win. From possibly before that, he might have even been the favourite with 3 seconds advantage effectively on the top 2. But Micken's best hope now is that these two start fighting each other, and Viper starts using all of his energy to defend. Fleddy still has none, so he's sort of committed to using every last little bit he can get his hands on to try and get in that DRS zone. At the moment though, still 1.4 seconds, so it's not enough. As we approach the end of lap 25, still the rain is held off, so it seems that we're not going to be affected by that, certainly in terms of changing tyres. You wouldn't expect at this stage. Who knows, maybe a couple of drops in the last lap or so, but yeah, we'll stay away from that one because yeah, we'll just assume it's going to be dry to the end of the race until we see otherwise. But Viper at the moment still sticking more than a second ahead of Fleddy, who's now 1.4 clear of Micken. So at the moment, Viper is probably just about clear of him, isn't he? Let's get the leader gap on 2.8. Yeah. So Fleddy, what can he do to get himself within that 1 second window? Viper, because Fleddy used all his energy and can't quite get within 1 second, Viper's not having to use any of that 40% that he's managed. He's not having to dump the lot out of it down the straight to defend from a DRS. So at the moment, with 2 laps remaining, while he can stay out the DRS zone, then Fleddy is going to find it pretty difficult to get by the Red Bull. And Viper is probably looking now, on lap 26 as it stands, probably looking the favourite because Fleddy just can't. It's almost like Fleddy should be just letting it charge up and giving it all for the final lap of the race at this stage, because even if he gets within DRS range, the 40% of Viper is going to be easily enough to defend. And the sun's come out again, so yeah, nice and bright for the final couple of laps. And Viper, your pole sitter, is approaching the final lap of the race, but still we have no idea who's going to win this, as Wolsey picks up another penalty. Apologies to anyone or anything that's happened further down. We've sort of got a little bit tied up to this 4-way battle for the win, but we'll try and keep up with things for a moment. We've got Lanzi and Jordan Mason having a bit of a ding-dong for P5 and 6, then Eric Wolsey, Entity. Yeah, disappointing afternoon as it's played out for Williams. Liam, Ricker, Prestari, Luke, Maggot, Booty and Giraffe completes the order. But VSV Viper at the moment looking pretty comfortable now actually. So yeah, the penalties for cars behind him. I believe Viper was the first one to pick it up, so Fleddy and Formula SB picking up penalties of their own has definitely had an impact in the closing stages. But Viper is about to go on to the back straight for the final time and has 1.7 seconds clear to Fleddy. So might have just made his match this afternoon as the Dutchman. And Viper down into the chicane, well clear. It's not going to have any effect that. We are going to see Formula SB clear Micken, but providing he can stick within 5 seconds of him, he will, I believe it's 5 seconds, yes it is indeed, he will pick up a podium finish. But let's just have a look at what's going on here, because unfortunately we seem to have missed, you can just see on the tower, these two have been swapping places quite a bit. Jordan Mason looks like he might just have the advantage now on newer tyres. Lansley's taking those mediums 22 laps, that's incredible. So BSP Viper is coming around the final couple of corners now. Started from pole position, and sort of ill-timed safety car for him might have made things a little more difficult, but he's stuck with his strategy, and he's going to come across the line to win the French Grand Prix. He's going to stay clear of Fleddy to the end and take the checkered flag. Yeah, Fleddy takes P2, Formula SB will come across the line. I think Micken's going to take what will be a fantastic podium. He does indeed, Formula SB P4. Jordan Mason will take P5, and then it's anybody's guess amongst all those with penalties. Lansley comes across the line. Eric, too fast for you. Yes, Jet takes P7. Eric down to Prestari actually, P8. Eric drops behind his teammate into P9. Liam, P10. Wolsey, Ricker, Luke, and then Maggot, P14. Yeah, Giraffe. So unfortunate. Will come across the line. Might be going for a bit of a fastest lap attempt here with P15 to pick up the final point. He comes across the line. Does indeed get the fastest lap, 1:30.766. And I believe, was it Booty, the last man across the line? No, actually it was... yeah, sorry, it was Giraffe. Was the last man. So, your top three out onto the podium then. And it was, yeah, Viper taking the win. And definitely boosts himself up the championship table with that one. And if he keeps attending every week, he can definitely move his way up in the final half of the season. Fleddy, though, P2 this evening, but extends his championship lead. And Micken with, I believe that's, I believe he's been on the podium previously this season, has Micken? No, actually, it's not showing that he has. So first podium in the season for Micken, and I will give him my driver of the day for that attempt. Came very close to taking the win in the end, and yeah, really stuck it out nicely on those hard tyres. BSV Viper, though, pole position, and came back from having to pit under green flag conditions. Fleddy and Formula SB probably cost themselves it with picking up penalties late on this evening. Yeah, and confirmation of your official results: Jordan Mason, Lansley, the entity, Prestari, Eric, Liam, Wolsey, Ricker, Luke, Maggot, Booty, Giraffe, and then Cranky and Vote Kick were your two DNFs. So Silverstone next week, I believe. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back next Tuesday. So tune in then, and have a very good evening, and goodbye.